All right, today we are going to work with properties of logarithms. Now, the sheet that you see on the screen is a sheet that I have handed out to you, I think a couple times this year, mainly when we were working with exponents, but it also has the properties of logarithms on there. And remember, logarithms are an exponent. And these properties are really powerful, and we'll show you how to work some of the homework problems using these properties today. But before we jump into the homework, I'm just going to go through these properties really quickly and one at a time, at least these first 5 of the properties, because you're going to need all of these to be able to do your homework properties. And then one of the ones we'll really get into is this change of base property, property number 5. And that will allow you to figure out the logarithm of any base with your calculator. So we're going to really use this one a lot. Okay, so if you can find this sheet in your notebook or in your papers, go ahead and get that properties of logarithm sheet out. It will come in handy as you're doing the homework. And I will also post this in Google Classroom, so you can be able to look at the PDF through Google Classroom. Okay, I'm just going to walk through these 5 properties really quickly, and then we'll do a couple homework problems. So the first property is just our basic definition of a logarithm, and that's property number 1. And bear with me again, my voice is not going to be good today. So if we have an equation, an exponential equation, like b to the y equals x, well, I can rewrite that because oftentimes we want to know what that y is. And in this case, it's written so that y is our unknown variable. So we want to solve for y, and we can do that with logarithms. So the way we rewrite this with logarithms, we would say b log b of x will equal y. And what I'm asking here is I'm going to say what product do I need to multiply b by, or what exponent for b would give me x? So in other words, if I have 2 to the x equals 8, I can say, hey, 2 to what power would equal 8? Well, you probably know that that's going to be 3. But I could rewrite this as log 2 of 8 equals x. And then we probably don't know how to do log base 2 in our calculators yet, but we will by the end of today. We could solve this and find out that, hey, x equals 3, which you probably already figured out. Okay, so that's the first product, or the first property, is just using our definition of a logarithm. Just being able to rewrite these two things in 2 different ways. So let's do that one more time just to get used to it. Let's use b, because we always like to use b as our base. But let's switch it up. Let's say b to the x this time equals y. Okay, if we rewrite this as a logarithm, it would be log base b, and this time I would say y equals x. So I'm mixing up my x's and y's on you. I'm doing that on purpose because it's the pattern that's important, not the variables that we use. So you want to be able to see an exponential equation and change it into a logarithm if you need to, or vice versa. So that's why that first definition of a logarithm is actually listed as a property, because we use it all the time depending on how we want to solve an equation. Okay, let's go to logarithm of a product. Let's see, I'll just erase this here. Okay, the logarithm of a product. This is a nice property, and it tells us that if I have something like this, log, and I have my base, and I have x times y, Again, we don't always write the multiplication sign, but let's go ahead and write it just to be really explicit. Well, that equals the log base x plus the log base b of y. This is a really nice property. A lot of times we go this way. We're given the sum of two logarithms and we can simplify them and go this way as long as they have the same base. So this base has to be the same. That's the big catch to this property, but it's a really powerful property. So let me show you an example. So say I have something like this. Say I have, let me get back to white because red is really obnoxious. If I have, let's say log 2, base 2 of 5 plus log 2, let's say of 3, well, I can add those two together, and that's the same thing as log 2. Again, these bases have to be the same, but they are in this case. They're both base 2 of 15. And 15 I get because it's 3 times 5. So this is a really nice property, property number 2, logarithm of a product. Let's talk about logarithm of a quotient. So that's 2, logarithm of a product. Logarithm of a quotient is really similar if I have, well, let's go ahead and erase this. If I have, red is really obnoxious. If I have log of, say, to some base of x over y, well, I can rewrite that as log base of x. In this case, when I'm dividing, it turns into a minus sign of log base of y. And so this, again, a lot of times we'll use this to simplify things. So if I have something like, let's use our old friend log base 2, let's do 100 minus log 2 of 10. Well, that's the same thing as log 2 of 100 over 10. So the negative 1 goes on the bottom. When I have a minus sign here, this number will go on the bottom, my denominator. And then, so I could even simplify that further. That would equal log 2, 100 divided by 10 is just 10. So I have this, fairly long 2 terms here, which I can really nicely simplify into this term. So again, these properties are really powerful. Okay, just a couple more and then we'll jump into the homework. Okay, the third property, we did logarithm of quotient. Fourth property, logarithm of a power. Well, this one is another nice one. Let's see. Log base x to the n, okay? And this n is inside the parentheses. It's not out here. So just to make that clear, we're not talking about an n. It's inside the parentheses. Well, I can rewrite that as, that is the same thing as log base x. And I can move this n out in front of the logarithm. So it's n times. So these two things are equal. I'll just write that again a little bit more explicitly here. So log b of x to the n equals n log b to the x. Really nice property because this can get a little bit cumbersome. I mean, this can get complicated having this exponents in here. And so we can take this n outside the log function and bring it in front of the log and multiply it. So it's a really nice property. Let me show you how this might work. Let's say I have, get back to white. let's say, let me move down here. Let's say I have something like log 2 of 8. Well, I can use this property. I could rewrite this log 2 of 2. 8 is the same thing as 2 to the 3, right? Right? Because 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. So 2 to the 3 equals 8. So all I did was change this 8 to 2 to the 3. But now with this property, I know I can move this 3 out front. So that would equal, again, let me get back to my white. That would equal 3 times log 2 to the 2. Okay, so this makes things really nice and easy. Okay, our last property is one that you'll use with your calculator a lot. Let me get rid of all this. Okay, this one is a really nice property. This is called our change of base property. And the way this works is, let me blow this up again here. Let's say we have something like log, I don't know, let's say 3, 27 equals x. Well, that's saying, hey, 3 to the x equals 27. And you might know that x equals 3. Because 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 equals 27. So 3 to the third equals 27. Okay, but let's say we have something that's not so easy to know. Let's say we have log 3 of 20 equals x. And we want to know what x is. And your calculator, as you know, it has log 10, right? We don't write the 10, but we could have something like this. I'm going to go ahead and write the 10 there of 20. We know we can do that in our calculator, right? But we can't do this log base 3. But let me show you this really nice property. Well, we can change the base of any logarithm by simply dividing by the log with that same base. I didn't say that very well. Let me just show you this. Okay, if I want to calculate what x is, I can do this. I know how to calculate the log 10 in my calculator, log base 10. So what I can do is I can say, hey, log 3 of 20, that is the same thing as saying log 10 of 20 divided by log 10 of 3. So you keep these two bases are the same, and this you can do in your calculator. Log 10 you can do in your calculator. And then whatever this base is that you're going to change to 10 goes here. And so this is a really nice property because this you can calculate what I have here in purple. This you can put into your calculator because your calculator will do log 10. Okay, so these are our 5 properties that we're going to work with today on the homework. I'm going to stop this video now and then we'll work a few homework problems in the next video.